Hello everybody, my name is Trevor Paul, Chief Mobility Officer for the state of Michigan, and it is awesome to be with you today. So I'd like to begin in the future, because the next 10 years are going to be a landmark decade for mobility and for partnerships between the public and private sectors. By 2030, Tesla is expecting to produce 20 million vehicles a year, and Uber is committed to 100% EV ride sharing. But not if governments don't build out charging infrastructure that reduces range anxiety. And partially autonomous vehicles are expected to make up almost 50% of new vehicle production by 2030. This means that you'll probably still drive your car, but there's a good chance it'll park itself, navigate a construction zone by itself, or take long highway trips by itself. This sounds cool, but it won't happen at scale without departments of transportation investing and partnering to develop smart infrastructure that allows these vehicles to interact with the environment around them, like traffic signals, signage, lane markings, and other vehicles. So it's going to be a big decade for the future of transportation and the future of public-private partnerships. And that's why Michigan's governor, Gretchen Whitmer, signed an executive order creating the new Office of Future Mobility and Electrification. The office will serve as a dedicated resource to help the state navigate public-private partnerships, policies, and new technologies with the goal of reinforcing Michigan's place as a global leader, as a global partner when it comes to the future of mobility and electrification. Now in Michigan, when it comes to mobility, our vision for partnerships is centered around the notion that a stronger state economy can indeed be achieved through safer, more equitable, and environmentally sound transportation for all residents. These two things are not competing, industry and community. In the long run, they rely on each other to create communities we all want to be a part of, economies we all want to be a part of. And baked into that vision that I just shared, there are 6 core objectives that Michigan shoots for with industry partners. First, we want to grow the industry right here in Michigan and in the industrial Midwest. And we believe in doing that, we'll become a better global partner. This means dedicated resources and incentives toward opportunities that generate new jobs and save existing ones. As it relates to EV and AV supply chain investments that we've seen in Michigan, we've seen $10.6 billion invested in Michigan and EV and AV firms between 2010 and 2019. However, the urgency to electrify has accelerated this investment in a big way. So just since 2019, collectively, Ford, General Motors, Stellantis have made nearly $9 billion in investment focused on new vehicles with AV and EV features, creating more than 10,000 jobs. Now, 1 in every 2 transportation companies in Michigan is doing work in autonomy, connectivity, and electrification. We also want to engage more mobility startups. In 2019, mobility-related startups actually had a larger job creation impact in Michigan than they did nationally. So partnering with these young emerging companies is so incredibly important. To that end, Michigan is currently the 2nd highest receiver of VC funds to mobility and electrification startups located in our state. We also want to expand Michigan's smart infrastructure. Why? Because of safety. Nearly 10,000 fatal car crashes have occurred over the last decade in Michigan, and 94% have been because of human error. So the sooner we can partner with solution providers to get new AI and more sensors on the road, the more lives can be saved. And with this in mind, the state of Michigan, in partnership with a new entity called Cavenue, is developing a first of its kind in the world, a 64-kilometer driverless vehicle lane between Detroit and Ann Arbor, where the University of Michigan is. This lane will include state-of-the-art physical and digital infrastructure so AVs can operate safely. It will literally be the road of the future right here in Michigan. And we've made sure that all of this activity aligns with the larger national conversation around transportation, especially as the Biden administration rolls out a $2 trillion infrastructure plan. Our Michigan senators have been leaders on informing this administration on EV and AV policy, as well as the future of manufacturing. And this is where our transportation heritage and activity give us a weighted voice in Washington. Another very important goal of ours, very important objective of ours, is accelerating EV adoption in Michigan, supporting partnerships that focus on the transition to electric vehicles and choreograph that work with state and national and global climate goals, including for Michigan becoming a carbon neutral state by 2050. And in that spirit, we believe in embracing partnerships that help us keep up, but also help us leapfrog. Keeping up in a sense of rolling out charging infrastructure at the rate the rest of the world is to create a consistent experience driving around America from Detroit to Minneapolis, consistent charging locations and experiences. And then leapfrogging moments, creating partnerships that result in innovative firsts in North America and the world. Innovations that allow, for instance, public transit vehicles to charge while in motion. and have the ability through their motion to add power back to the grid. Another really, really important objective for us is further enabling Michigan's mobility workforce and global mobility workforces through upskilling and reskilling, helping traditional automaker employees transition to EVs and AVs, electric powertrains, multimodal, and startups like those in Israel that want to build a North American presence are going to be critical to helping us build that workforce. And finally, we want partnerships that help us bolster Michigan's mobility manufacturing core. We believe that Michigan's unique mix of manufacturing assets make tech clusters like Silicon Valley, Israel, and other high-growth markets primed for partnership. For example, a lot of high-growth tech markets have a high concentration of software companies needing rapid prototyping or lower-volume manufacturing. Well, you can rely on Michigan. We have price-competitive, quality-focused factories operating with excess capacity, especially during traditional automotive off-cycles. Other high-growth tech markets around the world have limited access to end customers and little help from government initiating sales conversations. Well, in Michigan, we have 96 of the top 100 global suppliers and 17 automakers and resources to bridge those conversations. And other global markets have limited access to diverse testing environments and connected infrastructure. Well, in Michigan, we have a 4 seasons testing environment and easy-to-access testing facilities, along with grants to help test. So, in closing, our guiding principles are pretty basic but very direct. We believe in a systems-level approach. That's what's going to create a better world. That's what's going to create a better economy and better communities. And so core elements of our focus, of our approach, fall back on the 4 core elements of the future of mobility era: autonomous, connected, shared, and electric vehicle technologies. These are all systematically linked. A state that can intentionally and consistently integrate all of these elements into its systems of movement for both people and goods will be a better partner. We also believe in leveraging public investment to spark private investment. That investment strategy will help us move faster, build deeper partnerships, and help us have a greater global impact. We also believe that responsive policy is a core asset. A state that focuses on new policy frameworks that account for future mobility scenarios will have more agility to hold leadership positions, be a better partner as the transportation landscape evolves. And then we believe in smart infrastructure. We believe it's a new and cutting-edge economic development tool. It's a critical asset, a currency, a foundational platform that drives community vitality, new business models, and new jobs. Let's be real, the future will belong to the government that prepares for it best. And the future is not just something that tomorrow's leaders will enter into, it's something that today's leaders will create. And core to that preparation is public-private partnerships, and Michigan is ready to be your partner as you think about North America. So thank you again for having me, and hopefully we get to see each other in person next year. Have a great eco motion, everybody.